Wayne Swan, thanks for your time.
Good to be talking to you, Brian. Good evening.
It's been suggested that News Limited might have questions to answer in Australia. Do you agree with that?
Perhaps. I think we should certainly look at that.
Is this anything to do with the carbon price?
No.
I mean, you've been taking a bit of a belting in the press, really, haven't you?
Brian, we're explaining the carbon tax to the people of Australia.
Yes, I saw you in Adelaide doing that the other night. You're all right for fruit?
Brian, it's not necessarily attracting the right crowd at the moment, but we're doing what we can.
It wasn't your policy before the last election, was it?
What wasn't?
The carbon price.
It was our policy by the time we came into government. That's the key point there, Brian.
Mr Swan, how do you think the government's going at the moment?
What do you mean government?
Well, I mean the government of the country.
The Gillard-Swan government.
Well, the Gillard government, yeah.
Well, I think we're going pretty well, Brian. I mean, we're dealing with some very significant problems and we're working our way through them.
And it's unique, this government, isn't it, really?
No. We've often had a government. If you go through history...
No. I mean, it's not often that the ALP go into a coalition.
Well, look, we've got to deal with the position the voters have put us in. Let's be clear about that.
Although the public have now decided they don't like the current leader.
If the public knew what they were doing, Brian, we wouldn't be in this position.
They prefer the one you had.
Brian, look, we've got a few problems, but problems devolve to the government. That's the deal with government.
Well, there's concern about inflation, isn't there?
Marginal concern, Brian.
What are you going to do about the currency? That's another issue.
Well, look, the rest of the world... Well, I can answer your question. The rest of the world's boxing its way out of a very tight corner. Our economy is strong. Of course the currency's high.
But the national broadband rollout's got problems.
The
carbon taxes, I just said, is causing a problem in the polls.
We're doing everything we can to sell that.
I mean, you've got problems at Christmas Island, Villawood.
We're addressing those problems.
And there's this new arrangement whereby you're going to send people over to Malaysia.
An absolutely excellent arrangement.
Who for?
Got any further questions, Brian? I'd get on with it.
Well, anti-gambling legislation.
Very good legislation, very important legislation.
You've got Kevin Rudd running around the place and opening a vein every time the light comes on.
Brian, we do have some problems in this country. We're trying to get the mix right. That's all.
Changes flagged about the welfare system.
Brian, you're just going through portfolios.
Well, that's my point. You've been beaten all around the ground, Mr Swan.
Well, look, problems...
You've got a flood levy.
Of course we've got a flood levy. We've had a bloody flood.
Mining companies have filleted you over the super profits tax. I mean,
Brian, look, we're trying to get the mix right. We've got basically a two-speed...
hang on. We're just... sorry, we're nearly out of time. Would you mind coming back next week?
Sorry. So I can answer the questions?
No, so I can finish the question.
Well, I don't know, Brian. I don't know whether I can do... I'll have to speak to the people who run my schedule.
There is another thing. Who is advising your government? Who elected them?
I'll take that as a comment. Any other questions? Yeah, you up the back?
No, this is not Q&A.
Where are the tweets, Brian?
Mr Swan, this
I like
is
it when the
Q&A.
tweets go along the bottom.